Guys, welcome to another episode of the Candy Show. I'm your host, Candy. We are here in Indianapolis, Indiana. That's where I'm at, but let's find out where my guest is. I want you guys to welcome performer, singer, songwriter, and I know he got some rap skills. Guys, I want you to welcome, who is no stranger to the Candy Show. Just want to let you guys know, Darnell Jr.
Hi, that was the introduction. Thank you.
You're welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Darnell, where you coming from?
I'm from Indianapolis.
Okay, see now, had I known that we was gonna have some good weather, I might have went ahead and scheduled this outside, but I just changed the location really quick at the last minute. So,
That's perfectly fine. Yeah, my allergies been acting up. That's probably
mm,
outside because when the weather breaks, especially when springtime hits, like there's pollen and everything. You can hear I'm just slightly congested now, but yeah, that's another.
look, I already know all about that, man. I had allergies to the point where I was scratching my face and I couldn't think because it was just taking over me.
Yep, eye watering.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, 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 yes. All right. So you were a guest on the Candy Show back in 2019, which is the first time I seen you. Saw you perform. You did your thing. I said I need you on the show. So you came on the show. Matter of fact, you was on 2 episodes, which was the dopest thing.
Yeah.
Appreciate that.
No,
Appreciate that. You're welcome. So tell me a little bit about yourself, Darnell. Now, last time when we spoke, you had a project that was out then, and I loved it. I loved it. Arch, and Rainbow.
yes, that
Come taste the rainbow.
those were off of the Prince of the Gays EP that I had in summer 19. Yep.
Okay, and you have a new project coming out in a couple of days, and plus I know that you have another uh scheduled interview here shortly, or no, not an interview, but you're gonna do a sneak preview, right?
Yes, at 9 o'clock Eastern Standard Time, I'm going live on my Facebook to have a virtual album listening party. So I'm gonna let everyone listen to every song on the album 2 days before the release. Since I'm still I'm still playing it safe and not trying to have large gatherings and still trying to stay safe and whatnot. So I figured, okay, this will be the safest way to have an album listening party or album release party and include everybody. You see what I'm saying?
Right,
But
right. Listen, I'm still playing it safe too, so don't worry. You're not the only one.
awesome. But yes, I do have a new album called Truth or Dare. It comes out this Friday on all musical platforms. I am so excited. It's literally, I can honestly say this is some of my best work to date so far, and it's definitely going to showcase my evolution and my growth as an artist from the past few years on up to now.
Let's talk about Truth or Dare. I'm loving the album cover. Love it, love it, love it, love it. And then, woo, the title. Because when you usually talk about Truth or Dare, you're talking about a game, okay? So
Yeah,
are you really willing to step out there and tell your truth?
absolutely.
Or are you going to step out there and just take that dare because you're not really really um, willing to take that. Listen, it's one of the things you stand in your truth,
Mm-hmm.
or you hide behind it and you didn't want to tell anybody yet, and you just go ahead and take that dare. This is just based off the
Right.
game per se.
Of course.
But let's talk about your album concept. Let's talk about your album concept and how'd you come up with the title?
Well, the funny thing is, I'm a big kid at heart, so I love playing games. I always grew up like playing video games, Monopoly, Uno, stuff like that. And once I became a teenager, like going into college, like early college years, I became a fan of the Truth or Dare game because, as young teenagers, you become, adventurous and do like crazy stuff. And I figured, okay, Truth or Dare is a great concept for an album because, for one, any real artist knows that the audience wants to feel like they know you. They want to, get closer to you. They want to actually, if in order for them to buy into your brand, they have to know, have a sense of who you are as a person, as an artist. And I feel like you have to be daring in order to tell the truth and in order to live in your truth. So on this album, I am pretty much peeling back layers, telling some truths about myself, some deep secrets, telling some things that I've experienced privately that I've never really spoken on. I might have hinted at publicly, but never really dove deep into publicly. So now I'm actually exposing everything about myself a little bit at a time.
Now let's talk about that, because I didn't get a chance to really get a chance to know who you were on the last show.
Yes.
And I have some questions, and I hope you're willing to answer them.
Of course, I'm here. Come on.
Okay, so you born and raised in Indianapolis?
Yes, born and raised.
All right, all right. And we're going to skip over the childhood situation, but I want to know what made you think, as I ask every musician that comes on, what made you say, let's go forward and start doing something in the music business?
That started when I was a child. I've always loved music. I've always loved the arts. I came from a theater background, and I started writing songs when I was like 10 years old. And honestly, at first when I started writing songs, I was just writing songs just to see if I could write a song better than what I was hearing on the radio, honestly. And I never expected anybody to hear the songs that I wrote. I never thought of it as a career. And then when I was in college, one of the ways I was able to, make money and hustle was to write songs for independent artists. That's how I started networking a great deal on social media. And I was in the studio one night with one of the artists that I was writing for, and he wasn't able to hit certain notes for the song that I wrote him. So I had to go in the studio and demo it for him and teach him how to sing. And that's when both he and the engineer were like, yo, you can actually sing. And I'm like, I don't really think so. I never really liked my voice. I'm just telling you how you need to sing, and you the artist. No, you might need to be an artist yourself. You might need to step out front. So I'm like, okay. So then that's when I started taking my singing more seriously. But I've always been a writer. But yeah.
Okay. All right. So now let's talk about that, because I noticed that you have a great pen game, but we're gonna go back to that piece of it. At this time when you started writing for other people, you said you didn't like your voice. I'm gonna tell you what, I don't like mine either. I never could stand hearing myself on a microphone, because I know I sound a little nasally, a little whiny.
That's sound too. I'm the same way. I hated my voice, talking and singing. I cannot stand my voice.
It's so crazy, because eventually you learn to get used to it and realize, you know what, it's probably not as bad as you think it is, because we're so hard on ourselves.
Yeah, and then also it's very it's a mental thing. I'm very cerebral. I tend to overthink things a lot. And when I first started singing, I used to be in my head so much. I used to be like, well, I don't sound like Chris Brown. I don't sound like Prince. I don't sound like Trey Songz. I can't do this. And then it dawned on me one day. I'm like, you know what? I'm not meant to say that I can bring to the table. I need to embrace that. So that's when I started showing myself some love and started learning how I should sound vocally in the studio and what fits me, what doesn't fit me. And that's when I was able to craft my sound a bit more and learn who I was as an artist.
Nice. Now let's talk about back then when you were in the studio penning for other people.
Yes.
And now at this time, what were you going through? Because you're clearly an openly gay male. Okay?
Yes.
Around that time when you started working with other people and you were penning other people's projects, were you openly out at that time?
Not at all. I was 19 when this particular incident happened in the studio when they told me I could sing. I was 19. I was home from college on it was, I think, fall break, maybe. Yeah, fall break. Like during Thanksgiving break. And I was still in the closet. I didn't officially come out or become comfortable with my sexuality until my senior year in college. And then once I really started getting into more into music, I was just open about it. But yeah, I was very much in the closet at the time. So what I was doing was I was writing songs from a male perspective, but then also writing songs in a way that women could understand and relate to what men are saying. So that way there's not that disconnect there. Because you know how sometimes men write songs, there's like, okay, only a man would think this. But I'm like, well, the ladies have a perception too, and some things women need to hear men say. some certain topics and subject matters be discussed by make women feel good too. Men have more to offer than just sex and you know rah rah and like Playboy and hood type mess. So I wanted to bring that, and that's what I started doing when I was writing for other male artists for the most part.
Now let's talk about that, because that is one of the things that I I see as such a plus in your direction and what you want to do in the industry. Because a lot of the songs that I hear, I'm honestly not for sure if you're telling them from a man's perspective or a woman's perspective,
Yeah,
or even a gay man as yourself. So that's not a bad thing at all, because to me, I see that that would be definitely some longevity in the business, because you can
thank
definitely write for women and men.
well, thank you.
And
That's what I'm
you're
going.
welcome. You're welcome. So apparently your goal in a sense was achieved, because I noticed that, and I'm not the only one that I know that has heard your music, and we've talked about it, and we said the same thing. So kudos, that's a good ups.
Thank you so much. I appreciate. I love what I do because I honestly feel like as an artist, it's our responsibility to tell not only our story but give a voice to people who don't have a voice or people that might be overlooked or overshadowed, and that's my mission in music. It's not just be a black artist or a gay artist or a gay male artist. No, I want to be an artist. All types of people. I want people to listen to my music and not feel alone. You know what I'm saying? I
Now
don't
say
want
that
people.
again. You want to represent. Say that again.
Yes, I want to represent all types of people. I don't want to represent just black people or just gay people or just, R&B listeners. I want people to listen to my music and hear the versatility and hear that it's universally for everybody. I don't want people to feel like they have to be in a category to enjoy me or my talent.
I actually do see that too, because that was something else that I was going to bring up. Your catalog that you have out so far that I've heard, because we know you have 2 more days. Well, besides tonight,
Yeah.
well, clearly tonight, I don't even think about it, but after this is over with, you'll finally get a chance to hear your new, is it EP or album? Tell me, what is it? What is it?
Full album.
It's full album. Okay, so after tonight, you'll be able to get a chance to listen to the full album. But prior to tonight, clearly right now, I can tell that there's a versatility in the catalog that you have, and you definitely are not trying to stay in one lane when it comes
Right.
to not only your particular talent, but also at the same time the chosen music that you've recorded, or even the production pieces of it, because it's not all ratchet, it's not all trap. You have definitely some love songs, if you want to say, or some of those kind of songs. You definitely hear I hear a lot of, some people could say over sexualizing a lot of your songs, but at the same time, there's a lot of sexual content. Let's just say that.
Yes. There, and the funny thing is, one thing that I've noticed about my audience so far is that they love the sexy, but also they love turn up stuff that's aggressive to a degree. So this time around, I'm still being true to that and still giving my audience what they have grown accustomed to hearing from me. But I'm also trying to take everybody on a journey and show my versatility as an artist. On this album, you're getting R&B, pop, you're getting hip hop. I even dabbled in South African house music. My single that I have out now, From Here, was written and produced by a South African singer-songwriter in South Africa. Uh, that's the only song on the album that I did not write, and he was a fan at first. So he reached out to me and was like, "I love your voice. I love your music. I have a song that would be perfect for your tone." So he sent it to me. I loved it. We did business.
Well, let's talk about that. You just brought it up.
Hmm.
Um, when it comes to your songs, let's talk about your whole entire catalog, including up to what we haven't yet heard.
Yes.
How much of it is your own personal experience?
I would say everything I write is from a personal standpoint. So I would say about 90 to 95%. Certain songs I pull from like watching other people's scenarios, things that I might have seen on Facebook or things that I've seen my friends and family go through. And then I internalize it because I'm an empath. So I can internalize what other people are feeling based off whether, like just my observations or what I'm hearing. So I use that, internalize it, and create a song as if is my story. So that way I can bring the most truth and light to it as possible.
And again, I'm going back because I can't decipher if it's you that's really experienced these things, or are you telling a storyline through someone else's, experiences. And so again, that to me is a plus, because you're keeping your audience wondering, did he really experience this? You
Yeah.
know?
On this album, everything that you hear on this album, I've experienced. Every single thing. There's one song on this album, and this one thing that I would say is one reason why I said it's my best work to date, because every single song on here is something that I've experienced and gone through firsthand. Whereas in past works, I experienced a lot of it, but witnessed some of it, secondhand. So I wanted to tell their story, blah blah blah. But this time, every single thing has a direct connection to me emotionally.
So the difference between this new album versus your catalog in the past, besides the fact that you've experienced pretty much everything on it, and tell me a little bit about the production, because again, I hear different versatilities in the production on your past projects. I heard definitely some pop, some crossover. I heard some R&B. I heard some trap. I mean, definitely up to par production. So tell us a little bit about the production on this Truth or Dare album coming out.
Thank you. On this album, I would honestly say I bossed up. And the reason why I say that is because I actually hired my own team of singers. I'm sorry, my own team of songwriters as well as producers. So GK Beats, he's my main producer. He produced the entire Prince of the Gates EP that you heard. So he produced Rainbow and Arch. He produced, I would say, about 60% of this album. And then I brought in some other producers, Jordan Blackwell, who's a guy I went to college with. He produced a few songs on this album. Just a producer. Jonas K, he's a producer I met through Instagram. He's on here. He has amazing production. He actually produced my song with me among other songs. Of course, Gassi, the gentleman from South Africa that wrote and produced from here, my latest single. So I definitely got to get around and get perspective. That's right.
Okay, so hold on. Let's do this. Let's do that exact same thought that you just said, because again, it's going in and out. I want to make sure we get clarity on what you said, because everything that you're saying is important. So repeat that from the part where you were saying that the gentleman from Africa produced 60% of the.
No. Okay. So the gentleman from Africa, he produced my latest single from here. He produced that one song on the album. GK Beats, he is my primary producer. He produced 60% of the album. And then I have producers. I have Jonas K. I have just a producer. I have a gentleman named Jordan Blackwell, who I went to college with, who produced a few songs on the album. He actually produced Hide and Seek, the video that I did. I do want to showcase a lot of versatility, difference in sound of this album.
Now let's talk about that, because I love the music that you had already put out. You come up with some catchy titles.
Yes.
Now, I don't know why this one track keeps staying in my head, but is it Digmatized?
Yes, that was on my Neophyte album, my debut album. Yeah, Digmatized.
And there are some other ones. I mean, you are really going in. You're really going in on some of these songs.
Thank you.
Now, you got some good flow. You got some good rap skills. Now, were you at one point? Did you rap all your raps too as well?
That's another fun fact about me. When I first started writing songs when I was 10 years old, I started out rapping. All the songs were rap starting out.
Now, why is that? Oh, that's right, because you said you didn't really see yourself as a singer.
Correct. And then also a lot of songs that I wrote were more like therapeutic. Like a lot of times when I rap, I'm upset. I'm pissed off. So when I rap,
I can tell.
right, So that's the headspace that I'm in. I've always been that way. Whenever I get angry or pissed off, I get in a headspace that I want to rap. Or that's just what happens. I don't know.
Now, see, my thought was like, oh shoot, dang no, because the first thing I seen from you were that you were singing.
Yes.
If you had to choose between singing, rapping, and writing, what do you feel like is your best quality?
Oh, wait. That is a very hard question. I would say writing is my strongest. Uh, if I'm being honest, I would say of the three, singing is where I want to continue to work and evolve. Like that, I would say of the three, if I had to say what I need to work on, I would say singing.
Have you had vocal lessons?
Yes, and I'm actually going to get back into doing that. The crazy thing is when the pandemic hit, I was actually enrolling in a vocal school to actually like take vocal lessons full time. And when the pandemic hit, it was like all that just went out the window. So
See,
I'm
I
like,
know. Go ahead.
oh, that was it. So, but I do intend on getting back into it. Yes, absolutely.
If someone came and said, well, let's go back here before we go into this next question. Do you own your masters
Absolutely, 100%. I
from every? Say that again.
I own everything. 100%.
So if someone said, you know what, I love what you got going on. I want to buy your masters, and I just want you to only focus on writing. Would you go with that?
No,
Wow. Why?
because for one, there's in this business is your card, is your name, and I put a lot of time and effort into building my craft and building my sound and writing from a true place. I can't imagine just selling that, giving that away for someone to do whatever they want with it because they don't see the correct value in what I've done. Now, if you trying to offer me some money, we collaborate or something, is that one of those type of deals? Okay, some things can be discussed. But as far as me just selling my masters all together and me just write for the people and nothing else and own nothing, absolutely not.
Well, there you go. For those who might be out there listening, there you go. He's definitely willing to partner up. Now,
Yes,
I have to tell you that on Candy Show history, we have talked about the subject of down low brothers, down low. Don't care if your brother, whatever it
whew.
is.
Do you have time?
Well, I know you don't because you got to get ready for your you got to get ready. But I'm gonna tell you right now, I wanted to touch a little bit on that because that's the reason why I wanted to talk about when you actually came out.
Hmm.
Because like I said, I'm listening to the songs and I'm not understanding. I'm seeing then the video that you just dropped. I didn't know for sure what was going on. So can you clarify?
Hmm.
Can you clarify? And it's totally up to you. You don't have to answer this question.
Okay.
Now, are you strictly a gay man dealing with men, or are you bisexual?
I'm completely gay. I only deal with men.
Okay. And
Um,
I know you said that last time when we were talking, you said, I'm going to answer this question because I deal with men. The reason why, again, I was not understanding because of the video that you just put out. Or, well, it's been out for a couple of years and you've been you're promoting.
oh, you talking about?
Yes. And I love that song too, just by the way.
Okay, I'm glad you brought that up. It was a conscious decision for me to have both a male and a female in the video because, for one, anybody knows, especially here in the gay community and in this city, there's a stigma attached to being a gay artist. I'm the first openly gay male artist here. So with that, there was stigmas attached to it. People were like, "Okay, you're just doing music for gays. You're doing music just for like men that you're trying to talk to." No, that's not the case at all. I have a great deal of a straight following, both male and female alike. So I put the female in the video who's a friend of mine, who is no stranger to being in front of the camera. I put her in the video because for one, I wanted there to be some eye candy for the straight male viewers. I wanted them to see something that they can look at and eyeball, because she and we've gone out to parties, to clubs, and men love her. She's gorgeous. So I figured, why not put that in my video and have something for all demographics?
Love the way you thinking, because I tell you what, back in the day when I used to try to be a rapper, not a real rapper, but you know, just trying out some things. I had always said that if I ever did a project, I would want to make sure that there's every song that's on there is completely different and is able to be you know, open to different demographics, and not just rap, and not just, you know, R&B, you know, all these types of things, and not just a sweet innocent person. Because I have a song that's really like, whoa, I'm listening to it now. I'm like, oh my gosh, did I really say that? No.
Oh, wow.
but yes, you and I are on the same page. I like the variety once again.
Absolutely. And the funny thing is, you brought up DL Men. One song in particular on the album actually talk about that. It's called Bitter Pill. I don't know if you got the track list I gave you, right?
Yes, you sure did. Because you, like I said, you come up with some great titles for your songs.
Yeah.
And it makes it so catchy to where I have no other choice but to want to listen to see what you're singing.
Yeah, you'll definitely get something out of that song. It's very telling. I had some dealings with the individual that wasn't comfortable with themselves, so they were definitely on the DL side, and they're known for dealing with women and whatnot. But behind closed doors, it was a different conversation. It was a different vibe with me. But I felt the need to express that in song and tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. That
Now let me ask you. Okay, can you ball? Can you ball?
I can nothing else.
Me too. So you know what? You might be good to do my candy shot challenge. Which, once again, guys, make sure that you stay tuned to www.candyproductions2.biz for more details. Coming soon.
Yeah, I would
Now,
definitely be interested to see how this. I might have to practice, because I haven't shot a basketball in I don't know how long.
well, I tell you what, that's why I'm out here again. You know, I said that in the very beginning. Now we're gonna get back to the interview. You know, that was the pause for the calls. That was the commercial break.
Yeah, no.
So okay, we're gonna get right into it. What has the pandemic? You know, what trials, what challenges did you have? Because I know that it was like, as soon as we talked last time you was on, first time you was on, and it was all great. And the next thing you know, everything just stopped. But then I noticed that you had a post out there saying that you had some really great news to share. Tell us a little bit about the Sony connection.
Yes. Okay. So I signed a promotion and distribution deal with Sony. So pretty much they're behind the release of this album, as far as like promoting it and pushing it and distributing it. And I have to specify the terms of that, because a lot of people think, okay, when you sign, oh, you sign with Sony, so that means you got a lot of money, or you sign this. No. And I also have to clarify it. Remember earlier in this interview, I said I own 100% of my masters. That's still the case. The deal that I signed was the only way I could have continued to do that.
Wow.
So yeah, they're behind the back end stuff, but I still had to foot the bill. You know, like recording and, you know, photo shoots, cover art, you know, mixing, mastering, all of that was still me.
And again, as I said once before, you know, it all depends on what individually you want. You want
Mm-hmm.
something fast, quick, in a hurry, sign that deal.
Yeah.
You know, if you don't have a financial, you know, stability situation, sign that deal. But best believe you're going to have to pay in the end.
That's very
You know.
true. Oh, and I'm not opposed to it. It's just a matter of, one, reading your contracts and knowing what you want and knowing what your objective is. I would say business is not a place for the weak, and it's also not the place for like quick, sporadic, or what's the word I'm looking for? Like just quick decisions, hasty decisions. You have to actually know what you're getting yourself into. You have to know what you want and be clear on that, and be prepared to walk away if it's not right.
That's what I'm talking about. I tell you what, you know, that was one thing that I, you know, just drew me into you, because you're very knowledgeable. Now, granted, you probably don't know everything because we all never know everything,
Right.
but you're very knowledgeable about what you're doing, your business.
Thank you. I definitely read a lot. Plus, I went to school for business. I went to college for business. Excuse me. So I've made sure that anything that I do, I read up on it tenfold. I follow a lot of the big people that are big, known for business. I make sure I study as much wisdom as I can, so that way I can operate accordingly.
You have to, because this is an ever-changing business, so we already know.
Oh yeah.
One day it'll be one requirement, next day it'll be something else, and then you're like, dang, I gotta work harder. Dang.
I know, right?
Getting back to the issue and everything that would have happened with the pandemic. All right, you had signed this deal. Tell us a little bit more about how this actually the pandemic affected you, as far as your personal life, your everyday dealing, and how does it relate to your current project? Excuse me, your current album that you have. You're getting released in 2 days, but after this interview, you're gonna have a party, a release party on
Yes.
Facebook. So, all right, tell us a little bit about that though.
Honestly, the pandemic, I actually finished recording this album just when the pandemic hit. Like, I finished it last April, but of course, during the pandemic, nobody was really doing shows like that. No one was really traveling like that. So it wasn't the right timing to release an album. And with the pandemic, of course, with the whole shutdown, everyone being isolated and, quarantine, I suffer from depression and anxiety. So at the time I lived alone. So if I'm by myself all the time, my anxiety was through the roof. It was a mess. I was anxious all the time. I was nervous. I was depressed. It was not the best situation for me.
How do you know you suffer from anxiety and depression?
I've actually been diagnosed.
Shut up, for real.
hmm Yep, have a doctor and everything. Have paperwork, lots of paperwork. It's yeah, it's really a thing. And I honestly didn't know it was a thing until it started affecting me more in my adult life. Because when you're a kid, you think, okay, it's just jitters, just nervous. But when you become older and certain things start to come out more in your behavior, you start noticing, okay, I'm upset all the time and don't know why, or I'm nervous all the time and don't fully understand why. That those are signs right there. And it took me going to the doctor and actually, through all this, I've been to therapy. I still have a therapist. So I'm very pro counseling or therapy if you got it, things to work through. But yeah, it's documented.
How did how did you even? I guess, when did that start? When did it
That
start?
as far as what me being
The depression, because I'm trying to. Did this did this start back when you decided, when you were still in the closet? Is what I'm asking. Was
yes.
that already going on? Did that come about because of that?
Actually yes to both. I started going through battles with depression when I was 17. I was a junior in high school. At the time, I was still very much in the closet. At the time, I was also still trying to impress and date women. And when any man who's in the closet knows that there's going to be a disconnect there. And and for me, I don't sell straight very well. So even back, even back at work, it was work back then to convince people, let alone myself, that I was straight. So it was a very difficult time. So I became depressed then because I also wasn't attracting girls like I would have liked to pass, if you will. And then when I went away to college, it really hit me because okay, I'm away from home, and I went to Georgetown. Georgetown, anybody who's been to Georgetown knows there's a lot of fine men on that campus. So there's no way I was going to make it out of college being straight or pretending to be straight. I got dragged out of that closet. I was dragged. I'm not gonna hold you, but I was depressed because I was afraid. Plus, I come from a religious family, And you're told, okay, you're going to hell, or you're willfully sinning, or you're sinning against God, and you hear that repeatedly, that
Mhm.
is very damaging, and it also makes you fearful. So that helped. That actually triggered a great deal of more my anxiety and depression when I was going through it.
And so I also wanted to ask you, because of the sensitivity of making sure that we describe and speak the correct terminologies, while there is a heightened, I don't know if you want to say outcry, but it's said that gay, using the word gay, is supposed to be negative. So, with that being said, why did you continue to stay with gay, Prince of the Gays, when we are told or have been educated over the last few years that it's a really negative word?
Honestly, I think it's very subjective. It's all about the eyes of the beholder. I don't see anything wrong with the term gay as long as it fits. Like, I am homosexual, but I am musically, I'm the full-time representative for the gays here in this city, in this state. I represent for us because I'm the one that's consistently releasing honest music and depicting us in the most honest light. Not saying I'm perfect, not saying that I'm a perfect role model, none of that mess, but I'm very truthful in how I depict myself and us. In regards to it being a negative, I honestly haven't heard, or no one's told me that it was negative, because I never thought the term gay was negative. I just think it's negative when people associate gay with a lot of negative things, like statements, like as far as like diseases and messiness. A lot of the negative kind of things that come along with being gay that people throw on you. That's what I have an issue with, because we're all very different. That is, it's not the same thing.
I also talked about this too on the last time, which I still believe. I can't judge you by what you do behind closed doors, because you don't know what I'm doing, and nor should I want to even judge you, period, no matter who you are. Don't care. I don't have to answer for it, for you and your life and what you do, and just the same way for me. You
Exactly.
might think that, I might have too much makeup on. Well, that's my problem. Why, you know what I mean? Let me deal with that if that's an issue.
Right.
You know
Right.
what I'm saying? And okay, I just want to just back this up real quick. You know how we were talking, we were dancing, and you said little booties matter. Hey, do you
Yes,
remember that?
I do. I
So wait
do.
a minute. Why don't listen to one of your songs and you spoke about little booty? Don't. I'm gonna be honest. I can't tell you which one it was, but I was like, no. So that okay. You shouted out the little booty, but I don't think it was the right way. But it's funny because I always talk about me having a little booty. So
The song that you're thinking of, I did not say it in a good way, because I was actually reading somebody. So that does not apply to you. Mm-mm. I was reading someone within an inch of their life in that song. So we're not gonna. That has nothing to do with you, sweetie.
I know. I know. I was like, oh, he did mention it. No, but yeah, yeah. No, I'm just being funny because we have that little booty thing going on, and what people had spoke on that too. After later, they said little booties matter. So it's like, oh, you don't
Yeah.
coin that. Whew. Now
You
let's
know
get
what?
back to something. Go ahead.
Got some money for that.
Wait a minute. Say that again because you went out. Go ahead.
If you had coined that, you could have got some money for that.
I should have.
Mm-hmm.
I should have. I don't know. We might think about that. Might think
That's,
about that. Now getting back to the serious stuff, because I know that you really want to talk about that. And first of all, I'm thinking that because all the wind is coming through, it might be blowing through the microphone, which might make me sound like I can't. It seem like I can't hear you. So if I'm asking you to repeat it, that's probably the reason why. So just
oh,
hey, I got to. All right, I had to get out here for the good weather because who knows when we're gonna have some good weather again.
yeah, it's
But
supposed to.
yeah, it's supposed to. Yep, yep, yep. That's why I was like, well, let me get out here. No bra and all that. No, I'm just kidding. No, y'all didn't hear that. No, I'm just kidding. Y'all know y'all never know what's coming out of my mouth. This is raw. This is real. Uncut and unscripted. All right, but let's talk about that though. You were going through depression. You're still depression,
Yeah.
clinically diagnosed depressed. Let's tell a little bit about that, because I know you wanted to talk about that and focus it, because it also has a bearing on your Truth or Dare album.
Yeah. Honestly, when I went, because last actually, but between releases, I actually went through 2 musical hiatuses. I don't know if you remember. Fall 2019, that was when I started record. I was supposed to start recording this album, and I was going through a lot. I was dealing with, my mom had gotten sick. I started having some health issues at that time because of stress, and then financially, I was stressed because the job I was working at wasn't getting paid the money that I was worth, and then it was just a lot going on that was weighing me down, and it made me so depressed that I was suicidal. So that was the first hiatus. Fall 2019. Then got myself together, or so I thought. Got myself together and decided, okay, time to get back in the studio. Went back in the studio, started recording. Then I came out with Why Not X in June 2020. So that was my quote unquote, I guess, return, if you will. That summer I was working, I was promoting. Keep in mind, still during a pandemic, but I'm still promoting music. Well, the depression came back because I still had unresolved issues that I just left. But that's the thing when you deal with certain things or deal with depression, there's always a root to it. And at that time, I had issues from childhood, teen, and things that I've experienced in my adult life that I was still harboring and holding on to. So at that point, I was completely done. I was ready to check out. Like at that point, I was really, really suicidal. I finished the album. I literally made plans for this album to be released post what's it called, posthumous. Like those were the plans that I had made. I had made a list of contacts for my mother and my business partners, everything. So I say the people, when people post certain things, during this time I posted a lot of dark and angry posts on social media, and people were like, "Oh, attention, you just no, be bad something, and I don't know how to help myself." And by ignoring me or by judging me, you're actually a part of the problem. And that's another why a lot of men are speaking about mental health or mental illness, because there isn't a safe space for us to do so, because we're often judged, we're often ostracized or seen as weak, or seen as we're being too feminine or gay, for acknowledging, okay, something's wrong, my emotions are off, or I'm just feeling down and I need someone to talk to, I need help. We have never been in a positive space to say that as men. So it wasn't until I talked to not my supervisor, my doctor, and I was on like 4 different antidepressants in a 2 month period. I was gone. When I started going to therapy, started dealing with my issues and doing it in a healthy way, that is when I was able to, okay, get myself back centered and actually be able to be where I am now, as far as in a mood to share and, release and promote music.
A lot of people, first of all, I'm sorry to hear that was something, because clearly you saying you still have a little bit,
Mm-hmm.
left over, but I'm glad that you decided to, and whatever that was able to get you out of that mindset, I'm glad that you did not go to the point where you wanted to take your life.
Thank you.
A lot of times for a lot of people, and I know for me specifically, music heals. Music is drug for me for when I'm feeling a different kind of way. I can always turn on this song because it's saying this. It's making me it's saying exactly how I feel.
That's
And
exactly.
that's an escape for me. I will say this: when you're talking about depression and then you get to the point where you don't want to be here anymore and you want to take your life, I want to commend you for even, well, number one, being open to want to speak about that. Number one.
Thank you.
Number two, you're welcome. Also, the fact that whatever it was or whoever it was that assisted you to try to get you out of that space, I'm glad you had an open mind to even want to listen to them. Or
Absolutely.
it.
God, I would say God is good. God is so good. It took a lot of prayer, a lot of prayer, a lot of crying to get to this point. And I'm not 100%, but I'm a lot better than what I was. And my producer GK, who's like my mentor, my big brother, he was one of the people that called me and got me all the way together. He was like, "We're not doing this." He was like, "You got too much to do, and you're not about to do this to yourself or us." Because he's my brother and he's also like my mentor. So he wants what's best for me. Him and my friend Lorenz, who's also my personal trainer. Those two men, along with my therapist and God, that was the village that held me together and that stopped me from killing myself because I made, like I was ready to go. So I I'm so thankful to God that put people in my life and in my circle to help guide me to help hold on because I could have lost myself. I could have lost everything. So I'm very blessed and very thankful and grateful.
I do know about being affected by suicide because I have members in my family who were successful
I'm so
at a
sorry.
young age. Thank you. At a young age. And a lot of times, even I humanly get to the point where I'm like, you know what, just let things go. But then you have to realize, and you have to realize that not everybody has that, can just get through things. And then at the same time, we all have been through things. We are all going to still go through things. And, so I will say this for those who are, contemplating wanting to take their own life or doing some other drastic things to hurt themselves or anyone else, I just advise you to please seek help. You're not going to be judged. And especially in all of what's going on.
Exactly.
There are a lot of people that don't know what tomorrow's going to bring. And I mean, where they're going to live, what they're going to eat, how they're going to provide for their children, you know.
Very
So I do want to say that I do commend you for that and having enough strength. I appreciate you sharing your story and wanting to get it out because we're not perfect.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That's one thing about me. You will always get the whole truth and nothing but the truth. I'm not one of those artists that wants to paint a perfect picture of myself or to appear like I'm better than anybody. No, I am a human being. A human being with issues, with bills, like everybody else. And I think once we break out of that, once we set ego aside and look in the mirror, that's when we can actually be real and honest with ourselves. And that's what I had to do. That's pretty much what you're going to hear on this album. You're going to hear me start to do that and begin that process on this album.
Now let's talk about what you have coming up as soon as we get off of here. Tell everybody about that.
Yes, so at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on my Facebook page, I am hosting a virtual album listening party. So anybody can tune in, watch. I'm going to be playing the entire album from start to finish and getting feedback. I encourage everybody to tune in and let me know what you think of the new music. And the album does drop this Friday on all musical platforms, Truth or Dare.
Tell them a little bit about where they can purchase it, where they can download it, all of that good stuff.
Yes, right now it's available for pre-order on iTunes and Apple Music. It will be available on all musical platforms, so Tidal, Google Play, YouTube, um, Amazon Music, of course, Apple, yeah, iTunes, things of that nature. It's literally going to be everywhere. Spotify, anywhere where you can get music is going to be available.
Truth or dare? Tell us what else do you have going on? You rap a little bit, you sing, you perform. What else do you do? Well, I seen a clip about you acting. You trying to get into that?
Yes, because remember, I have a theater background. So before I started singing, I grew up in theater. I started acting when I was 9. And then at the time I went to, remember when they had the magnet programs?
Yes.
And
Sure do.
yeah, I went to Ridge when it was a middle school. I was in the performing arts. I was in the theater, and then I was also in the math and science technology magnet. So I definitely want to get into acting. Acting took, I would say, it takes a lot longer to jump off sometimes. Music, you can jump off quickly. Like all you need is a people willing to listen and spread the word and a good product for the most part. Well, I take that back. I have a good product. Not everybody has a good product, but we leave that one alone.
That is definitely true. That is definitely true. What's your end goal?
My end goal is to, ooh, good question. I want to do. I just want to be a vessel. I want to show. I want to show people different. I want to show people that it's okay to be unapologetically who you are without being afraid of ostracism. It's okay to acknowledge and walk in your flaws and accept who you are, but also accept responsibility and own up to your issues. I want people to look at me as an artist who can and is able to do it all.
I know
From
that's right.
Yeah, so I just want people to be inspired, and I want to open the door for artists that are coming behind me, not just gay artists, but young artists to be vulnerable and to be open and honest about all of who they are, and not just a part of it, not just what they think would deem them um, accepted by society.
Now, I know with us still being in the worldly situation right now, do you have any events that are coming up that are scheduled? Because I
Yes,
know we're here in Indianapolis, they're opening up something. Well, clubs actually, there have been some clubs still open. Speaking of which, you recently you were nominated for some awards. Tell us something about what's going on with that. Tell us about your accomplishments.
thank you. Yes, I was nominated for 4 awards. In December, I was nominated for the Captain the Nap Hip Hop Honor Awards. There, I was nominated for 3 awards. I ended up winning Most Underrated Artist.
Okay, hold on. Before you go on,
Yeah,
repeat that again. Just because I told you it was going in and out. So we want to make sure that we get all your accolades out there, okay? Because it's
okay.
very hard to do your thing here in Indianapolis, Indiana. As I've said before, it's very hard to make it here. A lot of people don't support you and things like that. So
It's
it's
even
important.
it's even harder being openly gay. That's another thing that's very very hard here. When you're openly gay, people automatically view you as a gimmick, or you're automatically canceled out. They don't see you even as an artist here. But yes, I was nominated for 3 awards at Captain the Nap Hip Hop Honor Awards back in December, and I won Most Underrated Artist. And then I was nominated again the following month at the Trapped in the Nap Music Video Awards, where I was supposed to perform. I unfortunately wasn't able to perform due to transportation issues. Um, but yes, so I was nominated there. So I was nominated for a total of 4 awards, walked away with 1. So I'm very thankful for the recognition.
Come on now. Come on now. Now, you publicly and you proudly put out how well you've been doing regarding streams and downloads. So reiterate that for us, for those who don't know.
Yeah, so I work extremely hard. I have an old school hustle, so I'm always sharing my music and passing it around social media and networking, and of course playlisting and things of that nature. But yes, I'm one of the top stream artists in the city. I One of my singles, "Keep It Cute," the song that I was reading and mentioned, Booty, that song just passed, I think, 62, maybe 63,000 streams on Spotify alone. That's my highest stream song on Spotify at the moment. Let's see, between the singles that I've already released off this album, I have well over 50,000 streams between the 3 of them. So, and then the Neophyte album has over 120,000 streams. So I definitely network and make sure my music gets into all the right hands and gets heard by the people that need to be hearing.
Awesome, awesome. This brought up another question that I want to make sure I ask. When you make music, who do you make it for? Do you make it for yourself? Do you make it for your audience? Do you make it for anyone who likes music?
All of the above. I don't record a song unless I feel it, unless I feel that it's necessary. Because I write from a very personal, very real place. All of my music is emotionally driven, regardless of what that emotion may be. So that's where it starts. And then when it comes to choosing the songs that I put out as far as singles or songs that make on the album, that goes into, okay, what I feel needs to be said, what I feel can probably touch and bless somebody else, what hasn't been heard or seen from another male artist in a while or at all. That's another reason why I choose certain songs and you choose certain subject matters, because I notice that there's a void there, there's an opening there where you haven't heard this subject matter from a male. So that's one thing that I definitely do. But I try to make my music universally for everybody.
Well, you definitely have achieved that. And if you don't feel like you do, I think you have. But hey, there's always room for growth, right?
Yes, and that's what I'm definitely trying to do. You definitely want to see growth on this album from what you heard on the Neophyte album and the Prince of the Gays. I am in a completely different space musically. It's emotional on this album. You're going to hear a great deal.
All right, so I know you got to get out here so you can get prepared for your listening party. Tell everyone how they can follow you on all the platforms so they can make sure that they get that pre-order as well.
Yes, so on Instagram and Twitter is Darnell Forever. That's Darnell, and you spell out the word forever. Darnell Jr. I have an artist page and an actual Facebook profile. The Facebook profile is actually where I'm going to be going live from in about an hour and some change. Yeah, follow me. You can ask me. You have questions, say hi. I'm definitely available. And then you can check out my music on all musical platforms. Apple Music, Tidal, Google Play, Amazon MP3, Spotify. Definitely find me, Darnell Jr., and you spell out Junior.
Awesome, awesome. Was there anything else that you'd like to add to the conversation? I'm gonna tell you what, we're gonna definitely get you back on. We're gonna talk about that subject a little bit more in depth, and I've been wanting to ask you to get on to talk about that. What good of a co-host or guest to have?
Thank
I
you.
thought about you. I was like, yo, I need to get you on because first of all, I love your energy. You make me laugh. You just
I love yours too.
thank you, thank you. So yeah, is anything else you want to add here? Sun is getting ready to go down. I need to get my shots in. You need to get
Yeah.
prepared.
Yes. So, album Darnell Jr. The Truth or Dare album drops this Friday, March 26th, on all musical platforms. Pre-order on iTunes now. On April 30th. So I'm sorry, not April 30th. April 3rd, next Saturday, I will be hitting the stage at the Emerson Theater. Go to my Facebook. You can purchase your tickets. I have a link that I posted, and I'll continue to post it every day leading on up until then. And check out my music video that I just released called Hide and Seek. It's one of the songs that will be on this album. The link is in my bio on my Instagram. You can find that on my Facebook as well. And I'm just happy that you had me on the show. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much. I appreciate you once again for attending the Candy Show. Guys, make sure you follow Darnell Jr. Guys, guess what? Once again, follow Darnell. Follow. And guess what? You can shoot. Once again, www.candyproductions2.biz. Darnell, I want to see your video when I put this information out about the challenge, okay?
Okay, absolutely.
Candy Shot Challenge. You don't even have to be a pro. You just got to sink some baskets, okay?
Okay.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you so much again, Darnell. Have a good night.
You too. Bye, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.
Bye.